Hey guys, welcome to the Big Blue United podcast. My name is TJ. I'm here with Colin. We'll be joined by Dan shortly. I hope he's having a catastrophe at his house. Just had a third child. Colin, could you imagine having 3 children?
Can't even imagine having one.
Yeah, it's hard enough with one. And then you have 3. You have a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an infant. That's brutal.
I'm gonna guess that the catastrophe doesn't have to do with the newest one, and it's likely the oldest one. I'll guess.
Yeah,
You
probably.
want to put money down? Put money down.
Yeah, let's do a same game parlay. Middle one under 4 to 5 screams. Older one. Just kidding. As usual, guys, please follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow us at BBU Podboys with the Z. I know Richard Mendenhall doesn't want us to be here today because he says white people shouldn't have an opinion on football. But you know what, Richard? We're here and we're doing it. And I don't care what you think.
This is going to be a Pro Bowl level podcast episode.
Yeah, exactly that. So as we know, we played a terrible game against the Saints, and really probably one of the worst games of the year the Giants played. But really, that's not what upset me the most. Really, what upset me was that I found out that there was a thing called the Italian American Hall of Fame, and the realization that I could never become a part of the Italian American Hall of Fame, and that's due to factors out of my control completely. It's put me in a state of deep depression. I'm not sure if I can get out of it. And, watching the Eagles lose last night helped a little bit, but, I'm going to need to see a little bit of something from this team by the end of the year so I can get over, this deep depression I'm in.
Well, what can help too, if you want to just go back even further, just a day further, seeing the Cowboys show themselves to be the frauds they truly are, because they won't win anything if they can't do anything on the road. They're not going to play on the road. They're not going to play at home for the rest of the year. So they'll do what they do every year and choke when it counts.
I just love being a hater in general. So when, the Cowboys and the Eagles are both trending down at the exact moment when they're supposed to be trending up, it makes me feel so good. 49ers are going to win this, are going to go to the Super Bowl of the NFC. I think there's no doubt in my mind about it at this point, just how poorly both those teams are playing. And I don't want to give shout out to Julian Love for those 2 sick ass interceptions. Once a Giant, always a Giant, as we say.
And the best part about that is he's more or less been an invisible man for this entire year. And it basically just takes a really, really stupid Jamal Adams to just put himself in a spot to give Julian, our boy, an opportunity to shine. And he did.
Yep, I love to see it. And I also love that on the back of his helmet, it says choose love, because of course, you know how they can have like different statements about like end racism. I guess one of the ones you can pick is choose love. So of course you would say that in the back.
I didn't notice that. That's amazing.
I saw it, started laughing. I was like, that's perfect. Of course.
I love that. Yeah. And I mean, he has been playing all year, but I think it's been more or less in packages specific.
He hasn't been a starter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't even realize Jamal Adams is a healthy scratch, but like I think I texted you earlier that Jamal Adams is Roy Williams without the horse collar tackling, basically.
Yeah, you're right. And you can throw why am I blanking?
He's a little Landon Collins too.
Thank you. That's precisely it. That tweener without actually being a tweener, because he won't allow himself to be a tweener because I'm a safety. No, you're just a linebacker who can cover a little bit better than a regular linebacker.
It's amazing a few years ago that a guy like, Jamal Adams or Landon Collins could be an all-pro. But if you can't cover now, I mean, that's wild. Like even half a decade ago, you can't cover, you're an all-pro safety. Now I feel like it's impossible. You have to be able to cover as a safety.
I mean, like think back to, back in the day, like a Roy Williams is a perfect example. He's like he could not cover, but he could play, a good role on a team and succeed. But it's just the game has changed infinitely in just a matter of years. So you just can't be like that anymore.
No, I mean, you look at guys like, strong safeties, like Adams or Williams, and, the days of coming down to the box to disrupt things are over, unless it's some type of sub package where you're, blitzing or, you're playing someone who, like the Giants, who have a rookie quarterback and, supposedly a good running back who had no yards this game. But I don't know if that's really his fault. But
It's funny you should say that, because now that I'm just thinking about it, when we were younger, and not even just that much long ago, 5, 10, maybe 15 years ago, it was such a norm to have that obvious strong safety and obvious free safety. And now, if you're not interchangeable, they might as well change the positions and just say, uh, left half safety, right half safety, because that's basically what it is now. You have to be able to play everything.
Yeah, I mean, those versatile defenders. I think Isaiah Simmons was a good example coming out of college. He hasn't obviously been the player that people thought he would be, but he definitely can move around and play a lot of different positions on the defense. And I think, especially with the Giants, versatility is always something they preach. I think most NFL teams are like that now. So I just don't feel like that's a position that really is. It's the fullback of the defense at this point. It's going to be phased out. You're going to need two guys back there who can cover and hit at the same time. You got to be able to do both. For instance, our kicker this weekend, punter rather, who hit a field goal doing some kickoffs. I feel like that should be the future of the NFL to save a roster spot. Like, why is a punter? Why are there two different kickers on the team? The punter and the kicker should be the same position.
And especially, I mean, if you want to just think in terms of physicality, over the years, you've seen, not so much with kickers, but it's changed there too, but punters seem to be getting bigger. And if that's the case, you can actually have a football player play two positions and not be a liability when it comes to tackling or something like that. Obviously, that's not a big deal, and that's not what you predicate that position on being. But you're right, save a position. That would be great.
I mean, a roster spot is huge on any NFL team. And, maybe you put yourself in a position where you're even thinner if you do lose that guy. But, I mean, it seems like obvious to me. But anyway, do you want to jump into the game? It was awful. The Giants are terrible. Tommy DeVito held the ball forever. I don't know if that had to do with, good coverage. I mean, the Saints defense isn't that good. Their rush defense is particularly bad. So to see, the offense just be completely inept, was lame to see, especially after DeVito last week looked like his pocket presence was improving. He was improving as a player. And then now, taking 7 sacks again. I realize the offensive line probably had possibly the worst performance of the year. Justin Pugh and Tyree Phillips specifically had just awful games. But, the only real success they have was when DeVito took off. I would have loved to see him not hold on to the ball for so long and just take off. That was the only, offense they actually had the whole game, basically.
Would you be so opposed to the idea that it's possible, starting with this game, Dable and Kafka are actively game planning to tank now? Embrace the tank, if you will. Because for what it looked like, Saquon not being involved at all, and the Saints defense, rush defense being that bad and not running it. I know they couldn't do anything when they tried, but completely abandoning it, across the board. I mean, that doesn't really sound like it makes sense, especially if DeVito is not that great at much of anything.
Yeah, all right. Oh, Dan's here. Dan,
nice.
Welcome.
Hey guys.
Good to see you. We just get your speed. We just jumped into talking about the game. We were discussing how bad the offense was. Tommy DeVito, Saquon Barkley, the offensive line. Nothing could get done.
Is this a surprise to you guys?
No.
No. I mean, it's just interesting after last game. I don't think the Packers defense is really ranked any better than the Saints defense. I think the Saints defense actually ranked worse. So to see them come out and sort of just lay an egg was interesting. I thought that they would have had a little more chutzpah. Tommy DeVito called it swagger at the end of the game, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm not upset either way. I'm just surprised how bad it was. It really looked like they had regressed a great deal.
Well, do you think there was enough film out from the last 3 weeks that people are just like, oh, okay, here's DeVito and here's how he does? Yeah,
that was what my next point was going to be. I think that they've seen the tape. They switched their coverages up. I know Vilma mentioned, that they had been switching between zone and man and running combinations of the two, and that probably confused DeVito. So I think really the game planning was the difference.
Yeah. To be candid, I watched the game and fast forward. Had a lot going on this weekend, but I was not surprised by anything I saw. Pass protection was strikingly bad. And yeah, I mean, the magic runs out at a certain point. Teams are seeing the capabilities of our practice squad quarterback, and there's only so much you can scheme up. I don't know. To be honest, I don't have a ton of thoughts on this game.
There's not much to talk about, really.
I didn't learn a ton from it, you know?
Well, I was just saying right before you jumped on, is it possible that Dable is maybe turning the gears to actually
Vanilla game plans?
Yeah, like just kind of be like, nah, let's kind of bring it on home here because we could, we're at 6th pick now. Could only get better.
That'd be cool. If
I thought
he
it was
like,
7.
No, it's 6 now, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
I love
every
that.
spot counts.
Yeah. I love that like idea that he could have been like, hey, John, like I turned it on for those past couple games. Now I'm going to turn it off. Don't fire me. Just leave me alone and let me do what I will.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think there's a ton you can do. If the defense isn't getting like 3 turnovers a game, we didn't win any of those games.
Yeah. Let's talk about the defense actually, because in the first half they played pretty well. In the second half it was abysmal. Adoree Jackson specifically was hard to watch. He was giving up play after play. That Jordan Johnson touchdown was pathetic coverage. I mean, he's a guy that you expect to step up and play well. And, I don't think any of the really good players on defense, really good players, I should say, in quotation marks, had a good game. Dexter Lawrence disappeared. Kayvon didn't do shit. They just sucked in the second half. Just absolutely sucked in the second half. It was interesting. Kamara was just destroying them once they stopped throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the magic ran out. I think it just makes those last 3 weeks that much more amazing that it was able to happen in the first place. And I think the fun that was bottled is great, and I'm glad we had it. And I'm still very happy where we're sitting pick-wise, and it can only get better. And I think, even though we discussed earlier how it feels good that the Cowboys and the Eagles are seemingly in a downturn when they need to be up in an upturn, I have fairly good confidence this weekend that the Eagles are going to take a massive baby dump
Cleveland steamer.
all over. Yeah, all over us. So
a baby Cleveland steamer.
Yeah,
Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about next week, I actually don't care if they win or lose, because if they lose, we get better draft position. If they win, we beat the Eagles. So.
Yeah.
I mean, last night, Dan, we mentioned the game last night already. And, as much as I want to see the Eagles, I want to see the Seahawks lose because we have their 2nd round pick. So better draft position for us. You're not going to cry about, watching Julian Love get 2 picks and put the Eagles away. No, you love to see that.
Same. Like similarly, like I bet you guys would be hard pressed to find a friend that's more interested in our draft capital, but I was fully rooting for the Seahawks, and that always, because not only root against the Eagles, but I also wanted the Eagles to have more reason to play hard against the Giants so we could ensure losses against them in the last 3 games. But yeah, and both those teams, well, the Seahawks spanked us, and the Eagles are probably about to spank us pretty hard.
And then if the Giants win, then we beat the Eagles.
Yeah,
exactly.
What are you going to complain about? Either way, I'm fine.
Speaking of last night, though, what are your guys' opinion on Drew Lock at this point? Because I feel like it's been a lot better than I thought it would be.
I actually loved his post-game interview. You could tell that it meant a lot to him. And Kenny Albert was basically like, this is the most important drive of this dude's whole career. And it was. And he came out, and you know what? I think his receivers bailed him out, but he played really well. Like, they scored they went 93 yards with a minute and a half left, and they won the game. It doesn't get much better than that. Good for him.
He'll be a backup quarterback for a little bit longer in the league.
Yeah.
I saw some tweets about like, what about Drew Lock? Because he's a free agent. Should the Giants look into him? Yeah. And that's not a solution. He's not going to give you anything better than Daniel Jones can.
Tyrod Taylor is better than Drew Lock.
Yeah, probably.
I think. I mean, I like him just because I like how I like his personality.
Yeah, he's
I don't know if you remember when he was in Denver and they had him rapping on the sidelines and shit. I don't know. That was fun to me. I liked it. Yeah. Or at the end of this game, he just went up the camera, started screaming at it. I don't know. I like him. I like him.
You like a quarterback with personality. That's the team likes it. Humans like it. Everyone except for John Mara likes it.
Yeah, his eyes aren't wide enough for John Mara. You can relax your eyes, Colin. It's okay.
It's a really good joke.
It's our favorite. We did it
You'll
last week
wax
too.
your eyes. I mean, I don't miss him at all. He's so out of sight and out of mind. It's incredible.
I mean, why would you? What has he done? People just root for him because he's on the team. Like, you can't root for a guy just because he's on the team.
There's going to be
Doesn't
a
make
case study.
sense.
There has to be a case study done in the years down the line of fandom and like blind fandom and just how dumb this era has felt.
Giants fans on Reddit are still posting, playoff picture scenarios about how the Giants get in with 3 wins and some certain teams losing and whatever. I'm just like, bless your soul, young man, but it's over. It's over.
It's a willful ignorance that a lot of people have, and you can be seen everywhere other than sports. Just like, I want my sport, like, the same people that are like, keep my politics out of sports or keep this. It's just like, there's things are more like you can view it one way as like, this is my team, I root for them, I trust them in all cases, or you could like try to get into it and think about it and have serious conversations. And it's just two different kinds of people, and they're going to be like, what am I supposed to know? Or you guys know more than a professional, football talent evaluator? If you played professional football, then I think not. I think trust.
I know more
Daniel
than you.
Jones. Yeah, I know more than you. That's exactly right.
I think people want to keep politics out of sports unless they have like an Aaron Rodgers type opinion. Then politics can be in sports all you want. That's
yeah.
As long as they agree with the people who get mad at these things.
Did you guys see? I don't know why anyone cares to post this sort of thing, but I saw Aaron Rodgers got a new tattoo. It's like some dragon on his bicep, and it looks like crap.
Love his tattoo artist, by the way. The guy, he works at Bang Bang. If I could get a tattoo from anyone on earth, it would be from that guy. He does the coolest stuff, man. And despite I know what tattoo you're talking about, but I love that dude.
I'll have to check out some of the other work because that one sucks.
Does he do BOGO tattoos? Because that's what Colin likes. Little buy one get one free action.
I would love that.
He does like really abstract stuff, which I enjoy. But if you're like
stuff like Aaron Rodgers understands, like symbolism and like.
I mean, if you're more of an American traditional guy, then you might not be into that sort of thing. But I would love to get a tattoo from this dude.
Yeah,
I like weird shit. You know what I do want to talk about, guys, is do you think the Giants are going to have a record-winning season this year? And by record-winning season, I mean, do you think they're going to get the most sacks of all time?
The most sacks.
The most sacks of all time, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this, but we're currently tied with the 2002 Texans, the season that ruined David Carr's career.
Yeah.
At 76. Tommy DeVito is the 5th most sacked quarterback in the NFL, having played 5 games.
Wow.
So right now
can ruin 3 quarterbacks' careers.
We're number 3. We're tied with number 3. The first is the 1986 Eagles. 1986, great year, right, Dan?
Yeah.
They have 104. The second is 1997 Cards with 78. So there's a really good chance the Giants will be second. Second most sacks in league history this year.
I hope that happens in the worst way because, I mean, again, we don't know what's going on inside of Shane's head, but like if nothing really drives something home more than that, then I don't know what else would. I mean, it's got to happen regardless. I mean, we get a quarterback falling into our lap. That's one thing, but like, I don't know. If we don't, it's offensive lineman the first couple of rounds. I mean, honestly.
I have a better idea. So I was watching this 60 Minutes report about North Korea, and they set up like a fake businessman to go in there and like do some business with North Korea. So they like got to a hotel, they had like intermediary, and then like, they were just like offering them like different kinds of like missile systems and stuff like that. So I think we should pose as businessmen, go to North Korea, buy a missile system, strap Bobby Johnson to one of the missiles and shoot him into space.
Thank you for bringing that up because the text that I was sending over earlier today about basically how all the linemen who have left the Giants over the last couple of seasons are basically the best linemen in the league. That's
Feliciano, you sent having a great year. Zeitler, I noticed having a great year as well.
Yep.
What is happening?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's we have certainly invested enough high draft capital into the positions. I think it's time to turn towards your talent evaluation and your coaching for those positions. Like the Tyree Phillips example of him spending, summer camp at Eagles practice and becoming better than Evan Neal in 5 weeks. That should say something to you. And at the same time, let's just bench Andrew Thomas. He hasn't been playing well. He hasn't been blocking he's
not healthy.
He's not healthy. Why are we keep trotting him out? He's been unhealthy all season since game 1. Let's pull him. Let's get that sack record.
Yeah.
And let's get a quarterback.
Well, that's a tough one. That's easy for us to say and a tough one for Dable to do and show that and not make it look like it's obvious he's tanking. Because think about how hard of a job that is for him right now.
It's preserving the most valuable asset on the offense.
I know, but by doing that, it's automatic giving up. And that's a very fine line.
We're not giving up. What is our percentage chance for playoffs? 0.05%.
I'm not arguing with you about that. It's the optics with John Mara.
John Mara and the Aaron Rodgers.
All he has to do is end up on the injury report for whatever reason, and then nobody questions it.
Yeah.
He strained it at practice.
Who else is on the team? Who else is on the team?
There's
nobody else
to play left tackle. Pretty much nobody.
That other guy, he had the false start. I forget his name. He's terrible.
McCutcheon or
whatever the hell his name is. Yeah, he stinks. But yeah, Dan, I think it's really interesting that you bring up the draft capital they've invested, because I was just thinking about him. You got Will Hernandez, Shane Lemieux, both second-round picks, 2 first-round picks, Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal.
Shane Lemieux was a second-round pick?
He was, yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
You had Matt Pert in the 3rd round. You did two draft picks, Azuda and McKenna 2 years ago.
Yeah.
McKeithen, rather. It's been you're right. It's been a lot of draft capital. It's not like they haven't tried.
Other teams develop. Yeah. But when you think about great offensive linemen, sure, there's a ton that were drafted high rounds, but also some of the best ones had been developed and were 5th, 6th round picks.
Yep.
We've never developed a 5th, 6th round pick since since
David Deal.
Coughlin. Yeah, since David Deal. You gotta develop some players at those positions in a 15-year span. It's
I mean, Micah McFadden looks like the real deal. He was a later round pick.
He's a linebacker. Are we talking about offense? We're talking about the offensive line.
I thought you were just talking about
No, I'm talking about the offensive line, because
you can make that argument too. They really don't have any late round picks.
Well, everyone's making the stupid argument that the offensive line hasn't been good, and the team will not be good until they're good, and we can't invest in a quarterback until the offensive line is good, which is just insane. It's you can't just keep drafting guys and hoping to win the lottery on the perfect combination of players via draft 100%. You have to develop players and make moves in free agency, and you can't waste the players that are good's entire career. We can't waste Dexter Lawrence's career. You can't waste Andrew Thomas's career. You can't waste Kayvon's career because we're waiting to build an offensive line strictly through the draft and not try to develop what we have.
And that's why I think Shane is going to come down hard on give the pressure on Dable and make him actually make some changes at the coaching staff. If Dable's not even really thinking of it already, which I'm sure he is. That's the first thing that has to happen, because the deduction is pointing towards it right now. Like we all said, we're fairly higher picks, and other teams in the league would develop these players and make them better. And Tyree Phillips is a perfect example of that in just 5 weeks. So. Bobby Johnson, it's the Giants thing to not usually fire coaches in the middle of the season. It's been rare. It doesn't happen very often. So I think
didn't Bobby Johnson replace the guy who was fired in the middle of the season?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's not normal. It's not a normal.
I'm just saying it could happen.
Yeah. No,
but you our assistant GM is Brandon Brown, right? From the Eagles.
Yep.
He must know how they scout offensive linemen. He must know who does a lot of their offensive lineman scouting. A bunch of guys have been shouting for that. Let's poach front office and coaching staff people. Let's overpay for the best offensive line coach out there, and let's get someone that can evaluate offensive line, because that's how we're going to fix this. And passing up on a quarterback that Joe Shane might have ranked in the top 10 value when you're picking anywhere between 4 and 8. Because we need to get another offensive lineman, and that's insane. That's insane. We have enough first round offensive linemen on our team.
Yeah,
it's just for me with the draft, it just really depends on where we end up. And I think that, last week it looked like, the Giants were on the upswing. So maybe we're, I was a little bit more, maybe we don't have to go quarterback. But at this point, if Rodgers coming back, you have to figure the Jets might win a couple games. And are the Bears really going to move on from Justin Fields? If they have 2 picks ahead of the Giants, there could be a quarterback there. That being said, too, you can trade back and do Jaden Daniels in a top 10 pick. I think he's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm not fully for a quarterback this year. If the class is good, I just don't know enough about the class next year to really make a judgment if it's supposed to be, equally or bad. So, I'm all for it. Best player available. Let's just get trend in the right direction, at least it's for some degree at quarterback or anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, but even if we were like, let's draft an offensive lineman, you're not going to draft a guard or a center with the 8th pick. So are we going to draft a right or left tackle and then bump Evan Neal in when they've said repeatedly that Evan Neal will not play inside, and Evan Neal said, I will not play inside? Is that the discussion we're going to have? I don't know. It's just that whole thing drives me up a wall.
Hey, if you suck, you suck, though. I mean, the proof is out there. Evan Neal, you can get as mad as you want, but you will blow at your position. So
get good, right? That's what they say on the video game message boards, right? Get good.
Yeah. I walked out of the womb an offensive tackle. Well, you haven't played close. You've played like you are an infant, essentially.
Yeah. He's a big old baby.
Pretty bad. Yeah, it's a pretty
infancy
bad.
tackle, not an offensive tackle. That was a stretch. That was a stretch, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You've been around an infant.
I have. They're very tiny. They're very tiny, those infants. Yeah, it's insane.
Football,
man. Yeah. Can I bring up Kadarius Toney again?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
Did you guys see that play? He threw the ball to the Bears.
Mm-hmm. He's
the Patriots. Excuse me.
He's Dookie.
Yeah.
He's
Dookie. And then Mahomes just was like on the sideline, just like, I hate that effing guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was great.
Oh man, I love it. I love it so much. And
then
Darren Waller had a pretty good game, who we traded Kadarius Toney for essentially. So
yeah. Has Toney muted all his social medias after that? I assume he's all.
I believe he's deleted all of his social medias.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I have DM'd him like 50 times, calling him a clown.
Yeah.
I sent him the clown emoji about 50 times. So I think I was the reason why he deleted it.
Yeah. Good. Because he is a clown. He's an absolute clown. He should go be a crappy rapper for about a cup of coffee and then just, never play football again. That'd be good.
He's a young joke of a football player.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Came to me just a moment ago.
Brilliant. That's why people listen to the pod. Yeah. This and the North Korea negotiation scenario.
Which I like that scenario very much.
I don't know, it's just topical in my mind. So I figured, like we said before, this game was terrible. Like there's nothing to really say about it. The Giants will probably lose to the Eagles. They'll probably lose to the Eagles twice. They'll probably lose to the Rams. They'll probably lose out the rest of the season. I'm just hoping that, they either lose out or beat the Eagles once, have a meaningful win, or I don't know. Who cares? I don't know. I'm ready for the offseason.
Lose at least 70-0 every game on from here on out.
I just want Tommy DeVito to get sacked like 35 times. So we can say that we accomplished. We could be in the record books. We accomplished something.
Did you guys read that he pulled out of a public engagement because his fee went up?
Yep, it went from $10,000 to $20,000. So instead of going to the hoagie place, he went to some burrito place instead. Can't make this shit up.
No, he actually he went today.
He
was there today. Yeah.
Oh,
and
sorry, I missed it.
He has moved on from Sean Stiletto as his off-field agent. So I guess Stiletto's still going to do his team contracts, and he's got a new agent for marketing, PR,
a hoagie shop guy. He knows all the hoagie shops in Jersey.
And apparently, it's some real deal guy. But
I was reading some funny stuff about his agent. Apparently, he was a wide receiver,
Marist,
in D1 Marist, and apparently, he ended Todd McShay's high school career as a defensive back or something.
Nice. Back
No,
in the Boston race wars of 2001 or something.
Something like that.
real dumb.
Yeah.
If you see his high school photo, he looks like everyone we played football against in high school.
Yes. Yes, he does.
Agreed.
Yes, he
He looks
does.
like every single. I was reminiscing the other day with Joy. I was like, Joy, did you know there was a
Every
guy?
single what, Dan?
What?
Every
Nothing.
single what?
Dude, we play football
You're like,
against.
he looks like every single.
Oh, maybe I cut out.
Oh.
Dude, we played football against in high school.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was just reminiscing with Joy. I was like, do you know I played against a guy named Luigi Rugliano? Remember that guy?
No.
The guy was insane. You know, remember from Harrison? He was like their halfback,
all those Harrison
linebacker,
Browns. Yeah.
steroid king.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luigi Rugliano. Hell of a name.
Sammy Maldonado is much further back than that. That was like when we were freshmen or something.
Yeah. What's his name? Kevin, the guy who used to write for the Journal, put out like a little mini documentary on Maldonado.
Devaney.
Yeah, Kevin Devaney's got a documentary on him. And what's his name? The dude from Harrison. That's the tackle. Not Harrison, from Hastings. That's the tackle. For Tampa Bay.
Crap. What the hell was his name?
A silly name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. He played for a while. He won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good story.
Yeah.
That's the tip
Jimmy
of my tongue.
Garoppolo. What has he ever done?
Babes. Lots of babes.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't really know if there's much else to go over today, guys, unless you have some around the league sort of thing you'd like to discuss, other than Kadarius Toney being a terrible football player.
No, I do not.
Ali Marpet.
There you go. Ali Marpet.
All right, perfect. I know that the listeners are really begging to hear that name.
Ali Whiskers.
Of the 22 decades ago high school football player, Ali Whisker. Sweet. Yeah, that's a good one.
Is there a world where someone named Ali Whiskers could ever be hot?
I think it was.
You know what? I bet if you look her up now, she's probably like a model or something. I bet she looks great.
Nope.
I just hope so, because
me too. She deserves it. She
definitely deserves it. She was a nice person. I think that's more important than being pretty. Being nice.
Than being a babe in high school? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, being a babe in high school, they're also, these people are terrible now. You see these girls I work with, they're all like young and hot, and I just know in 10 years they're just gonna have nothing going for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they're gonna marry rich.
I don't. That's not. I'll marry some rich guy. Who am I kidding?
Unless they still have a job at Teddy's Bar and Grill. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, if you want to have a job at Teddy's Bar and Grill, 96 Berry Street, Brooklyn, New York, you can, if you're good at it.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, thanks for listening tonight, guys. You can follow Big Blue United on Facebook and X and Twitter and Instagram. You can follow BBU Pod Boys with a Z on X. You can find us right next to the Nazi posts and whatever
street
else
fights,
is on there.
teenage fighting.
Next to the Tucker Carlson, Andrew Tate live stream. You can catch us right there.
Yeah, do you guys
to
notice like a plethora of women from the Cleveland area that like post like themselves in like tight clothes and like talking about the Cleveland Browns?
No.
There's like 30 different ones on my feed, just different girls that like are just like, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, but everything they're like bikinis and like tight shirts, and it's just
weird.
Yeah, there's like a whole contingent of like hot
what is
chicks
that?
who like start talking about football.
But why am I only getting Cleveland Browns? There's like 31 other teams.
You're such a huge Baker fan.
Yeah, you're big.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
probably because just the amount of those people in Ohio is a lot higher because there's absolutely nothing to do there other than there's no jobs or anything, so you might just try to be like a football influencer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Football thought, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
And there's only a few that pull it off, and they're all the ones that do the Giants.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. Whatever. Shut up.
Yeah, we're done. This is the worst thought of all time.